unpredictable, unexpected, and unimaginable. It was Dick Knoll, who retired from Miami as our Vice President for Student Affairs and the namesake for our chapter for the National Residence Hall Honorary, and then Dean of Students, who had the responsibility to call and notify his parents. Here you see Dick having dinner with the Dorsey Hall staff earlier that semester in Old Erickson Dining Hall. When Vivian, Alejandro's mother, handed the phone to his father, Alfonso, that night, she asked Dean Nault, "Would you please tell my husband what you just told me in the same caring and compassionate manner in which you just told me?" We had a nice visit with Dr. Nault, who still lives in Oxford, just yesterday. Ebony Rayford, the first-year advisor in Dorsey Hall in 1998, that's what we used to call resident directors, and now the assistant dean of students at Franklin University in Switzerland, wrote to me, and once we knew we were going to name the award after Alejandro, I started to reach out to previous staff members. Ebony wrote to me, "Alejandro Garrote was that RA who knew every student's name. He was involved on campus in many meaningful ways. He even helped to create the Silence is Acceptance campaign to stop injustice on campus. She said, I felt it was such a successful campaign that I took the concept to my new job in California. I enjoyed all my interactions with Alejandro, and he will always have a special place in my heart. I am forever grateful to have known and worked with Alejandro." This is a photo from Ebony's scrapbook, in which she keeps a photo of Alejandro and the bookmark that she gave to Alejandro at the beginning of the year. She gave them out to all of her RAs, returned to her after his death. Yes, this is a scrapbook. This is where old people put photos and things in. That's a bookmark where old people put in books to mark the page while they're reading, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Jill Radin, the assistant first-year advisor in Dorsey Hall and a graduate student in the higher ed program, who worked in career services at Carnegie Mellon University after her work at Miami, and is now full-time at home with her 4 children in the Pittsburgh area, emailed to me, "Alejandro was a great person, not just a great RA. He was kind to everyone he met, didn't judge people before he knew them. He tried to see the best in everyone and was wonderful to work with. It was such a shame to lose such a warm and kind soul so early in his life. I would have loved to have seen where life took him and what he was able to accomplish." I was in touch with Steven Steinberger, a fellow RA with Alejandro, now a school counselor at Javier and Brothers High School in Westwood, Massachusetts. "It was an honor," he wrote, "to be on staff with Alejandro Garrote. He brought an infectious enthusiasm to everything he did at Dorsey Hall. He organized an intramural soccer team, he helped plan a trip to the Cincinnati Reds game, and he took the time to meet with all students in the hall." This was before we had one-on-one requirements. "I was impressed with his boundless energy and the sincere interest he showed to the residents and staff. He patiently listened to students, encouraged them, and left a lasting impression on all of us. I never felt like Alejandro was an RA because it was his job. Rather, I got the sense that he was in the position because he genuinely wanted to help people. To this day, I try to approach many of the positive qualities I learned from Alejandro in my day-to-day work as a high school guidance counselor. Alejandro will forever be remembered by the Miami community for his compassion, warm friendship, and contagious enthusiasm for life." Nancy Heggie Kramer, another fellow RA, who now lives in Kettering, Ohio, who, when hearing this morning that the Garrotes were in town and that we were naming the award after Alejandro, made all the arrangements, dropped everything, and came to join us tonight for the banquet. Let's welcome Nancy and her husband. friend, very supportive of everyone. There were several times that I needed help with youth group activities at Oxford Presbyterian, and he was always willing to attend. I will never forget the day he passed away. The last time I saw him, I think he was walking around eating a bag of popcorn, just talking to random groups of residents. At our staff meeting, we realized that no one had seen him the entire day. His parents had visited several weeks earlier for Parents' Weekend. I remember, after his death, his mom telling us that if she had known what would happen, she still would have let him go back to Miami that fall, because he loved it so much. It's been a bittersweet trip through the cobwebs of my own memory, reaching out to these former staff members and once again connecting with Alejandro's family, who were immediately gracious and pleased that we were naming this award after Alejandro. And they wanted to be here for the first awarding of this recognition. I think we've had a great couple of days visiting. They've had a chance to catch up with students and advisors from Unidos, which is the current day iteration of, this is a picture of Nancy from the beginning of the year banquet, and Alejandro and the ARD Jill Reagan. And then here is the meeting just yesterday with students from Unidos. I set that up because Alejandro was active with ALAS, the Association of Latin American Students, and they got a chance to catch up and to learn about Alejandro and his work here 20 years ago. That's our own Pamela Ianiro and an RA in Hillcrest and the president of Unidos, and Andy Obregon Mantilla, the RDN president, convened the group of students who met with the Garrote family. They met this morning with Michael Kumler from Development to talk about the Alejandro Garrote Scholarship, which was established over 20 years ago. It supports students in Latin American studies and students who wish to travel to Latin American countries. They have met with all of the nominees for the award and several other RAs, and with Bill Gracie, you see in the photo there, a retired English professor and former director of liberal education, with who Alejandro co-facilitated the summer reading group discussion book back in 1998. So before Vika comes up to the podium to announce the first recipient of the Alejandro Alfonso Garrote Leadership Award, please join me in thanking Alejandro's sister and father, Leslie and Alfonso Garrote, for sharing Alfonso with us, Alejandro with us once again.